probably the weirdest shot I've taken in a while. It's a similar shot to the one before. I just like the idea of driving and talking. I mean, here I am burning gas on a beautiful night, having great ideas, and I'm not recording it. I need to start documenting something. There's like this itch in me that just can't go away. And the itch has built up to a point of like, it's built up to a point of basically, you know, my mind will just barely start to overflow. It's almost like it won't overflow. Maybe I should cut here. My mind has basically gotten to a point where it's itching to document things. It's itching to experience the world and share it in a way that provides answers to people, whether or not they know what they're asking for. The idea is that if you can intuitively solve problems, then you should be able to share that intuitive gift. I don't know what problems I can solve for you yet. I don't even know if I can or not. But the idea is so real in my head that I have to at least start documenting. To have an audience, though, is the other question. To have a mindset that I'm not talking directly to myself, but instead an audience, builds this entertainment idea, builds this expectation that, I'm going to have people to hear me out. I'm going to have a sort of a threshold or a limit to work within. I don't necessarily know if I need that or if I want that. So right now, all of this is simply being directed towards myself and as a personal visual experience blog. Sometimes I feel like I'm too sharp or angry, but then again, I think about how fast the world is spinning and how much is happening at one time, and I just start to throw pity in the air and ask you, the audience, here it is, where were you when I said that, or where were you when that happened? Because, man, sometimes I get tired of how slow people move. Hey, you know what? I move slow too, though. It's exhausting. It's exhausting to live your life with such a expectation of being so involved all the time. But then, you ask yourself, what do you want to do with your life? Do you want anything at all? Of course I do. And so then it's a matter of what it is that you want, and that, that's your individual, that's what makes you unique. It's what you want and what you desire. The thing is, though, what you truly desire, what your heart truly desires, is a moment to be met. It's a moment to have the experience of knowing exactly who you are without anyone else sort of inflicting on that. It's a moment to experience the sense of reality that you bring to the table. Because whenever you're interacting with other people, whenever you're experiencing anyone else, you are experiencing their sense of reality, and you're experiencing it within your sense of reality. So for you to feel like you're having your own true sense of reality, maybe you can have that feeling, but the truth of the matter usually is that you're having a shared experience, an experience that is tied in with so many other people and so many other people's lives, and the feelings and the emotions and the past thoughts that other people are having. Basically, think about what's happening right now. What was your day like today? And then to watch this video, I mean, it's hardly visible, so there's that. I could turn a light on, but then that looks kind of creepy, and I'm driving. So whatever it is, figure it out. But I just have to laugh because sometimes I wonder how far we can connect ourselves and how much we can do to strengthen that connection. And then, well, that's what the world is, Alex. That's how the world works. It's a huge, multimedia web-based platform. Yes, the internet. But now the way that we use it to connect in daily life is becoming a little bit more complex. So I figure that here would be a good moment to explain things and explain and remind the human soul of what we really are. I'm not going to have a full speech on all that now, but that's sort of what I want to get into, because before you know it, we're going to snap our fingers and, wink our eyes a couple of times, and the whole world will be, all the same, but all so different. What I mean by that is we'll be struggling with similar issues. We'll be struggling with how to handle marriages, or, dealing with, money, experiencing loss, craving in general. Life is suffering, So dealing with those issues in a more modern way is becoming something to pique your eye at, basically, because communication is where we start. Communication is how you solve any kind of problem, basically. Any kind of problem, even if it's a kind of problem like, oh, this lamp is broken. The point is, you need to communicate your extremely intelligent mass of body to this, inanimate object that it needs to be fixed, that it needs to be like this instead of like that. That's a very basic version of how to solve a problem, right? A lamp is broken, you replace the light bulb. That's a form of communication saying, this light bulb is broken. This light bulb no longer works because the filament is burnt out. Of course, you replace it by screwing a new one in. There's no language involved there, but the physical movements is still a communication. Now, imagine the physical communications involved in a normal conversation with another human being. The amount of movement of your body, the amount of energy that is being created from your heart and then being sent to your brain and then throughout the rest of your body. How your blood is flowing, your physical mass, all of it plays a hand into how you communicate. That's the physical nature of it. And then, of course, the non-physical nature of your mind is the next story. And the thing is, what else is not physical? Well, we have the physical world, and then we have the virtual world. It's a non-physical format of our world. So, therefore, it is a great representation of how the brain works. Of course, it's not a representation of how the brain works, but it can be used as a representation. Meaning, this realm of non-physicality creates an existence that can be everything and nothing at the same time. The internet can be the brain, a great representation of the brain, while also not being a representation of the brain. The internet can be a great representation of how, a flower blooms, but at the same time, not a great representation of how a flower blooms. I'm probably getting a little too coy at that point, but I hope that you start to see a little bit of what I'm trying to get at. This video is almost 10 minutes long of me just talking, so I highly doubt that you just would sit there and listen all the time. But I start to wonder, this is the problem I'm facing here, is that if you are just sitting here listening now, then I have you relaxed, or I have you at a state of, focus, where you're just listening as if you were in maybe a classroom or, a lecture hall. I'm not meant to be your professor, but I am meant to be someone that sheds some knowledge, and then after that, I just want to have a cool conversation. I want to create things and build things and anything but a wall, basically. The issue is I'm stuck in a position with my life where all I can do with my time is work normal hours and, you know, basically get my life situated before I become like a daily vlogger. And then is that it? Is like all of my destiny to become not just an office job worker, but then a vlogger? And then after that, what's next? Like, come on. Like, where does this... I feel like we're already eating up. Like, it's clear that, like, the modern world has already eaten up the daily 9-to-5 job. The idea of getting up every day and going to work and then coming home, eating, and maybe watching a movie and then going to sleep. I have nothing against that world because honestly, I'm living it and it's not that bad. You know, you find great lessons told in those long days. And there's so many, I'm not even, you know, I'm not going to contest to it because to say, you know, all in a good day's work, to say that line, to say all in a good day's work, oh man, there's so much can be piled into one day. So anyways, what I'm trying to say is I don't know if it's for me at this age, but then here I am at this age needing to do it, and I see, like, you know, like vloggers that I don't know, it just upsets me that they get to do that while I have to do this. But the world isn't fair, so that really only phases me for a matter of seconds before I'm back to my own reality. And so here I am making my own video, but then I get so lost here, you know, and I think this is where I need a little bit of a rest of time itself, because it's like so much has already been said and done, but then it now needs to come to fruition, you know. Get out is the message I hear. Get out of what, you know? I mean, did a U-turn at AT&T. I'm at AT&T headquarters right now. I see. What the hell? That's funny. Let's see, what road am I on? I don't know what road I'm on. Here's CVS Towers. Oh, 2211 Sanders Road. So I guess that's where AT&T is located too. Anyways, there you go. The internet and local networking, communications, stuff happens to you like without even thinking, and that's what's crazy. I think so much, and I think about what like other people my age think about, and I'm like, there's no chance in hell that they're thinking like this. Honestly, no chance in hell, because the stuff I think about sometimes brings me to a state that I don't want to share. Not that I think I possess a nature of hell, but because I think that I can, like, form it in my own sense, and then, well, then what does that say about heaven, you know? And then, and then it's a question of, oh, to even touch heaven. I mean, the cool thing about playing with hell is that it's already hell. It's already fucked up. It's already messed up. You can't mess it up anymore. And if you do, then good job. You just made more of a hell for the people that deserve to go to hell. But then, you know, I'm just waving my hand as the light turns yellow. You know, slow down. So I'm gonna stop it here. It's 15 minutes. I then wonder, though, after this video ends, what you're gonna think, and how, like, I don't know, like, how connected you're gonna feel to me. And then it's gonna be a matter of privacy. It's gonna be a matter of, like, mind privacy, which I almost want to throw up about, because, like, the moment I don't feel like I have a sense of privacy of thought is the moment we need to change things. So, and that's not for me, that's for everyone, obviously. That should just be like a bound rule, or not even a rule, it's just like a given in nature, right? The issue is that sometimes I do feel so connected to people that I can sense what they're thinking, or at least what they're feeling. And so to give you 15 minutes of my life, what does that do in, like, you know, I don't know, in like, you know, in reverse, or like, what does that do to you, basically? Especially since I'm driving as I say all this. Not only am I generating a vehicle with an engine that runs, you know, whatever amount of horsepower, but it's also a setting of my body. It's also a movement on land. It's also exactly, you know, a specific amount of time. So now, to have spent this amount of time sitting, listening to this video, watching me, if you're at this point, now to live another 15 minutes without it, what kind of difference does that make energetically speaking? Because it's like basically watching this syncs up our energy flow to an extent. Obviously, there's no way that it can be exactly the same because of the laws of nature. You're physically not me doing this at this moment. So basically, I have all freedom in the world. And then, well, and see, that's the thing. All freedom in the world, what do you want me to do, right? I mean, anyways, the point is, I do feel a sense of freedom here, and then you should too. And the issue I feel is that if I say this now, you're gonna have a certain amount of limitations that will sort of like twitch the system, you know, like create a glitch where you can't do things, you know, or you're like, you know, almost possessed to do things. So basically, I'm testing my own, I don't know, sense of craziness. I mean, completely honest with you, I could be completely losing my mind at this point. I know that I'm completely rational with my thoughts and my, you know, ideas about the world to a certain extent, but then this is the, you know, this is the plane of field, you know, this is where things get very blurry and, you know, just for lack of a better word, unfocused. So, which is blurry. I don't know, you know, it's hard to tell. I don't think it's bound by science or that it's set in stone, so try it, you know? And then even then, it's just like, then you're basically, at this point, we are talking strict philosophy. Meno's paradox, per se, and then, well, even to start there, but maybe that's all I need to do now, is just sit and read philosophy. How boring is that? Okay, I'm gonna just drive now.